Hi everyone, and welcome to our first episode of a Social World podcast. My name is Gracie Mackey, and today we discuss some very exciting topics in relation to TikTok, and we even had a special guest on to get their input surrounding the topic. Let's get into it. Since the introduction of social media companies have had to face the challenge of competing with the platforms to keep those users' attention for entertainment and information, with the most significant tactic being adopted as a planned flow. Users have become so accustomed to this maneuver occurring that they don't even realize it happens. A newer platform where the use of an algorithm is quite obvious is on TikTok with its For You page, which is a specially curated feed of videos that TikTok will show a user based on their interests and from previous interactions and trends on the app. To give an example, I was liking loads of videos about cars. TikTok might start showing me a lot of videos about Tesla because they might think I will engage with that content. Furthermore, they may do more so if TikTok has an advertising partnership with Tesla and boosts their content relating to that brand. This is because the app wants high amounts of engagement with advertised content because they are mostly funded by revenue generated by online advertising companies. Consequently, the app does not have much thought for the effects of this content on creators. Another negative effect is that it can cause enclosure and algorithmic bias where advertisers and media platforms can shape what a user sees for their own personal benefit. With this in mind, what are the other repercussions of a platform that supersaturates algorithms, and are there any positive outcomes? In order to get a better insight into the realm of TikTok, I would like to welcome today's special guest to the podcast.
Hey guys, I'm Sebi Laz. I'm from Australia and I've recently blown up on TikTok and trying to make a career out of it.
Thanks so much for being on the show, Seb. So, you're only 21 and you've already amassed over 3.6 million followers and 100 million likes on the TikTok app. I think you are definitely more than qualified to share your opinions.
Kind of figuring out the platform as I go.
I can imagine, especially with all the new trends I see popping up on my FYP. It must be really hard for new creators. Would you be able to give us a bit of an insight about how you manage to stay relevant and challenge TikTok's algorithm?
It's been you really have to be on top of it because the algorithm's always changing. TikTok algorithm is so different to any other platform. I'm sure anyone you speak to will tell you that it's the most personalized you'll ever find. No other platform does it like them. Kind of focusing on which videos take off and then analyzing maybe what locations or what time I posted and stuff like that was kind of the way I did it.
Oh, cool. That's a really great tactic. According to Kotta, users have had to monitor their own engagement analytics and assess empirical evidence in order to optimize their visibility and engagement to avoid the threat of invisibility within the visibility game.
Yeah.
Saying this, how have you managed to challenge TikTok's algorithm model? Do you think it's helped you in any way, or has it made getting big on the app harder?
I feel at the start, I kind of hopped on semi-early, so I feel everyone had an equal chance at the beginning.
Yeah.
They still do give everyone an equal chance. They say, spoken to TikTok themselves, they say that every video has equal chance to blow up, whether you have 10 million followers or 10. But I think it's definitely good for smaller creators. You can literally, I had no other help. I started from zero, and I think anyone can do that.
That's actually a really great point. It's pretty eye-opening to see that there are some positives to the algorithm in the sense if you play the game right, you can effectively make a career out of it. I've seen you've worked with a lot of big brands too. Do you think that's helped boost your exposure?
I worked with a lot, mainly Australian, from McDonald's to Afterpay and Sony. So yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I guess everyone's just exploring how influential TikTok can be and how crazy the impact it has on like younger audience and everyone in Australia, I guess.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for being on the show, Seb.
No worries.
So from a creator who actually uses the algorithm to his benefit, it's clear that perhaps there is some good to come from algorithmic culture. I think it's important to keep in mind the intent that platforms have when blowing up certain content. Perhaps some of Seb's videos where he has worked with a brand have blown up just because he worked with them, and the TikTok algorithm has tried to promote it. I think that is definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for listening, guys. That's all we have time for today. We'll see you next time on A Social World. Bye! Welcome back, everyone, to another podcast episode of A Social World. My name is Gracie, and today we have some super interesting topics to discuss that incorporate digital media into ethics. This episode is called The Eventual Decline to Being Cyborgized. So to kick things off, I'd like to ask you, have you ever felt yourself scrolling and scrolling through social media and you almost feel as though you can't put down your phone? Because I know I have. I was scrolling through TikTok for so long the other day that I even got a video on my FYP from TikTok itself telling me to take a break. This was the audio.
I understand it's easy to keep watching videos, and trust me, I've been there before. Those videos will still be there tomorrow, so go get some extra sleep, turn your phone off, do yourself that favor, and have a great night.
Now, if according to PhD researcher Ludmila Lupinacci, social media controls discrete segments of content being organized in a logical and coherent manner to keep the user absent-mindedly scrolling, then why is the app itself telling me to take a break? The answer? Because it's just so addictive. Media platforms pervasively show curated content to fill your time and ensure something happens, turning fragmentation into continuity to maximize attention. This can also deteriorate into addiction, whereby users obtain a pathological dependency on these platforms, triggering that feeling of unsettledness. As discussed in our last episode, major platforms such as Spotify, TikTok, Netflix, and Instagram adopt algorithmic models to find patterns in engagement to build models, then making predictions about the content, videos, or music that is best to show the user first in their feed or homepage to optimize engagement. This continual spam of personalized content is said to create a spatio-temporary of immediacy and privileges real-time engagement, according to Lupinacci. Research has also shown that these tactics can trigger detrimental effects on users in the form of addiction, because every moment becomes pregnant with historical possibilities, even if the overwhelming majority of the time it's ordinary, according to Lupinacci. She also maintains that the incessant evolution of new media is addicting yet revolting to the result that it can cause addiction-like features, withdrawal symptoms, increased conflict with family and friends, salience to life, and mood modifications such as excitement, fatigue, and anxiety. This also aligns with Haraway's cyborg theory, where our relationship as organisms has melded our bond with cybernetics to form a heightened dependency on technology and media platforms. Have you ever seen a toddler or young child who looks almost glued to an iPad? That's what I mean. Humans of all ages have become so dependent on technology. I know I can vouch for other users when I already find it extremely challenging to know when I have had enough social media for the day, particularly when I want to keep scrolling through my apps in case I might miss something cool or important. Therefore, a user self-regulating their own media usage is quite difficult with these platforms, as they are computationally programmed to promote continuous connectedness. Furthermore, where is the line drawn when platforms and governing bodies must take action to prevent detrimental effects on users, even though this is ironic as it goes against their strategy to maximize a user's engagement? This issue is very important to tackle and a question because, as users, we don't have much power in the way that these algorithms work. So perhaps that is why TikTok has attempted to maintain a good reputation with users and parents who want to police their kids' screen time to prevent the bad effects of addiction by implementing a screen time limit feature in the settings. Beyond human interconnectedness with social media, I'd also like to discuss another aspect of society that depends so heavily on mobile phones, being checking into locations for COVID-19 contact tracing using the QR code and the Check in Queensland app. But what if your phone dies or you have no data? What if you don't even own a phone? We have become so dependent on digital technology that now society has decided that there is a presumption that all members of society own a mobile phone, when this is definitely false. I think it will be interesting to get to a point where perhaps we no longer have to even rely on mobile phones, and we have become so melded with cybernetics that technology has become a part of us. Perhaps with microchips where we can just scan into venues and lose a mobile phone altogether. Did you know microchipping already exists with tracking wild and domestic animals? So why can't humans start doing this too? On TikTok the other day, I came across an account called @ChipGirlHere, who is a woman in America who shares her life on TikTok with her 1 million followers, and she gives an insight into her life with a microchip in her hand.
It's Chip Girl here. Yes, the girl who has an RFID chip implanted in her hand that's used as a key to unlock her house.
She can open doors, garages, and cupboards throughout her smart house using an RFID reader. Furthermore, as Haraway says, why should our bodies end at the skin we don't need? Organic holism to give impermeable wholeness. In other words, why can't one's sense of self be entangled with the technologies one uses on a day-to-day basis? Why can't we just become one with the technology? I think this is a super interesting idea to ponder on. So if there is anyone out there who would like to look into this for me, let me know. Awesome. That's all we have time for today, guys. We'll see you next week on A Social World. Thanks. Bye.